Hello and good evening. Hello and good evening to race fans across the globe. I hope you're staying home and staying safe wherever you may be, because joining us tonight from across the walks of motorsport, from Formula One through to karting and grassroots, we have a wonderful lineup of 64 drivers ready to go racing for round 4 of the April Isolation Series. We've already visited the iconic Spa-Francorchamps circuit, as well as Barber Motorsport and the home of British motorsport, Silverstone. And tonight, we are heading to the Road America circuit, a popular racetrack and a rather tricky one as well. But of course, as I said, 64 cars ready to go racing, and the format will be a little bit like this. We have 2 heats, and that will then see 22 cars from heat 1, 22 cars from heat 2, heading through to the final 44 cars on the grid, ready to battle it out for round 4 of the championship. Well, before we head off and join our trackside commentators, a little bit earlier on, I caught up with one of tonight's competitors, who is Harry Tinknell. Here's what he had to say. So Harry, thanks a lot for joining us. Tonight we go into round 4 of the iRacing April Isolation Formula 3 Championship. You've done all of the races up to date. How have you found the championship?
Yeah, thanks for having me here. Looking forward to tonight, and yeah, it's been great so far. The F3 Isolation Series. Enzo Mucci's put on a really good championship. Got some really high level drivers, and for me, who's reasonably new to sim racing, it's almost like starting my career again. The last sort of 3 or 4 weeks. Lucky I got my simulator just before the lockdown started, and I thought, I'd get on, do a couple of hours, and should sort of be there or thereabouts. And that actually the case is very different. So I've been practicing a lot, and had some good results so far, and looking forward to hopefully, edging my way again into the top 5 and maybe even onto the podium tonight. But we'll see.
Well, tonight's circuit, of course, we're at Road America, and you won there in real life last year, didn't you, with Mazda?
Yeah, I mean, Road America is such a fantastic track. One of the best circuits for me in America and even in the world. And yeah, for myself and the number 55 Mazda Motorsports car, we had a fantastic race there last year in the Inter Championship. We won there, and just great memories, great feeling. It was super hot that day, 45 degrees I think it was. And I remember I got out of the car so dehydrated at the end. So luckily tonight I've got my fans set up in the sim room, and it shouldn't hopefully get myself in quite the same state that I was when I got out the car last August.
You can finish the race relaxed with a bit of cool air and maybe a nice cold drink afterwards this year. And hopefully we'll see you on the podium.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's funny sometimes in testing I'll be going down the back straight and I'll just have a little sip of tea, put that down on my little side piece, and then doing a lap back straight. Now, if only it was the same as that in real life, it would be a lot less stressful. But not quite the case. But absolutely loving the sim racing, and yeah, obviously we're all looking forward to going back and entertaining the fans in real life. But while we're in this period of isolation and downtime, it's great to be able to entertain everyone online and race people all over the world from their own living rooms.
Exactly. We can stay home and still entertain with racing. Listen, Harry, have a fantastic race. Thank you very much for taking time to chat to us, and we'll hopefully speak to you again at the end of the race.
Thanks a lot, Gemma. Cheers.
Cheers, Harry. Well, we'll be hearing from a few more of our drivers throughout the course of the evening, so don't go anywhere. But right now, it's time to head trackside for the action as we go iRacing.
Thanks, Gemma, and welcome then to the Isolation April F3 Championship presented by Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, and alongside me is Dane Baird to take you through the action tonight. Dane, we are at Road America, a proper classic. A lot of slipstreaming. We are going to be in for some racing tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. It's definitely going to be some slipstreaming tonight. We've got 2 very long straights into turns 1 and so-called turn 4, even though it's actually turn 3, but we won't get into that one just yet. These F3 cars, they got pretty high slipstream levels, so we're going to see that definitely in these very short races. We've got 2 4-lap heats, and then we've got an 8-lap feature race, and the top 22 drivers are going to be getting into the feature race, so it's going to be important for them to finish high up on the grid in the heat races. And we've got just under 60 drivers, I believe, so it's a lot of drivers in this event tonight, as we can see some of the drivers starting their qualifying laps, and they're only going to get 1.
Absolutely. This is pressure if you've ever seen it before. 1 qualifying lap these drivers have got. It's a 5-minute session, so 1 quality lap they can do. And then, of course, you've got to finish within the top 22 places in these 2 heats to get through to the final. Otherwise, you're not going to make it, and your championship chances are going to go down the drain, undoubtedly. So really important that these drivers nailed this qualifying lap. And expect incidents of plenty. So if you can get yourself to the front of the order right off the bat, then you're going to be in for a great chance. The drivers just coming round the final corner. This is an individual qualifying session, so you can see on the track map, no one else for these drivers, not going to be any slipstream. It's all down to them to try to deliver a lap time which will put them high up on the grid. It's a star-studded lineup we've got today, Dane. Drivers from so many different disciplines, once again in this championship. We've also got Nicholas Latifi, who will hopefully be joining us for this round, which makes it our first Formula 1 driver of the season, I believe. So just incredible to see these different drivers from different categories race against one another. We never see this in real life.
Yeah, definitely. It's similar to the Race of Champions in that respect. We've got drivers from, like you said, Nicholas Latifi in Formula 1. We've got F2 drivers, F3 drivers, F4 drivers. We've got lots of karters as well. We've got people in IMSA, loads of different motorsport categories, and it's going to be really interesting to see, as it has been in the last 3 rounds, how they compare against one another when they're all put in the same conditions, the same car, same setup. And they're only going to get 1 lap of qualifying. We're going to see how they do with that one. As you said, immense pressure on the drivers, and with the new tyre model, they're going to have to really warm their tyres up in the first lap as well to try and get some heat and grip into them, because they're pretty slidey when they're cold.
Absolutely. Really tricky to get those tyres into the optimal range. It is a long out lap, but we didn't see too much weaving from the gels. I was surprised by that, because you're absolutely right. When they're at cold temperatures, these tyres do not operate well whatsoever. So we're seeing these couple of drivers come round these few corners. Let's see what happens. Who can put themselves up on the front row of the grid? So far, no times being delivered, but expect to see that change very quickly on the left side of your screen as the time tower will soon come up, and the drivers just approaching the lines. We're seeing personal best sectors for Azam, and also Hogarth has been extremely fast. Baltus is the first driver across the line, and Hogarth quickly replaced him at the front of the standings. Djokovic now crosses the line. Race winner from the other day. Ibrahim, though, goes faster. Azam in second place, a couple of purple sectors. And Baroni, the Argentinian driver, puts his name up on the top of the tower now as the rest of the drivers come through. There's still plenty of others. 50-odd drivers. Still got about 10 to go, but it's looking very good for Baroni at the moment.
Yeah, definitely Baroni on provisional pole position. So is Ibrahim. Of course, the drivers are going to get split into the heats based on their qualifying position. Every other driver is going to be in every other heat. So I think we got the odd drivers are in heat 1, I believe, if it's the same as Tuesday's race, and then the even drivers are all going to be in heat number 2. There are only 4-lap heats, and it's finished. Everyone set their times, so we can see what we're going to get the heat grid, I think. But the drivers at the back, they're going to have to make up 8 positions for Tom Onslow in this first race to try and in 4 laps to try and get into the feature race, which is not going to be an easy task.
Absolutely not. So here is the grid then. Nicholas Veroni, British Formula 3 driver on the front row of the grid, alongside Ramez Azam, who has already taken race victories so far in this season. Richard Vershaw, it starts in third, then it's Philip Djokovic, race winner, I believe, from Tuesday's event. Charles Collette and Liam Lawson in 6th place. Then it's Joe Turney, Bart Halston, Indy Dante, and the rest of the drivers will go through. Now you can see Nicholas Latifi starting in 19th place. That is 3 places within the positions that you need to get within to get through to the final later on. So this is really big for him. As long as you avoid incidents, they should get through. We're expecting a few retirees. There's going to be some aggressive driving. It's going to be some hard, fast racing at Road America in the April Isolation Formula 3 Championship. Rainey is from the pole position. We're about to get the lights on as long as the drivers line up on the grid. We've still got Finestrias actually. Starts down in 21st position. Poor lap time for Finestrias, who has won a race already this season. The Frenchman, the #1 driver, actually yet to get on the grid, just holding up things a little bit. Billy Munger starting in 29th place. Jack Horsworth as well in 28th. They've got a lot to do. Ollie Caldwell as well. Watch out for him from 27th, who has been pretty quick this season. But undoubtedly Bernie is going to be the favourite for this race. The finishing positions of this will decide the grid order as well for the final. So you do want to finish pretty high up as everyone is on the grid now. And we are getting the lights prepared for 4 laps of racing at Road America. And we are away. Can Burundi hang on to the lead straight away? Azam in his slipstream now pulls alongside to the outside. He goes Djokovic with a good start as well, getting past Vershaw, but they're 2 by 2, 3 back going into turn 1. Oh, and the race is off. Burundi is off the track, and we've got 3rd and 4th and 5th, I think, also going off the track. It's Big Charles, a massive crash through turn 1, and there's barely any drivers who have been able to make it through unscathed, and damage is fully on these cars. The new damage model, and I see only 4 drivers getting through cleanly, maybe 5 and 6. However, you can see a massive stop with the drivers lining up at the back of the grid with the in the pits at the moment, taking the toe back. It's aggressive driving even at the front still. As well, what a start! What an absolutely incredible start.
That was a sight to see. There was like probably 25 cars involved in that one, all at the top of the hill at turn 2. It was fully blocking the track, and no one could really get past that unscathed at all. Only about 5 or 6 drivers, like you said. But that leaves us not too much action. We've only got a few drivers to keep our eyes on, which makes our job slightly easier, not having to look at 30 odd drivers in a 4-lap race. But it's still going to be an intense racing. They want to get their good positions for the feature race. It looks like a lot of drivers out of the race, and Nicholas Latifi in 22nd position looks like he might just make it into the feature at this stage.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do the finishing results. I assume it'll be based on qualifying results for the drivers who can't do more than 1 lap. However, they do have a faster pair, so you will see them back out on track. So anyone who isn't aware of the faster pair, the drivers will get an automatic repair to their car, and they'll be able to exit back out onto circuit as though nothing happened, and they'll be able to continue. But massive issues as still battling out in the lead.
You can just see the replay on your screens of that lap 1 turn 1 incident. That was a really massive one. So much carnage.
So the order then, after the first lap, is Ramez Azam is leading the way. Billy Fraser is in 2nd. He managed to get past, well, I think Charles Collette up actually 3 places, up into 3rd. Matt Greenwood is in 4th, then it's Bart Horston, Dan Wells, Matthew Payne, everyone back to 12th position, not even 12th position, 9th position, maybe 10th place. All having massive issues. I'm seeing maybe Christian Mansell, the last driver who managed to get through cleanly. And, well, this is going to be fun, isn't it? I think later on, because we're going to see all these drivers exit the pits with their faster pairs, and the race is going to be back on, but they're all going to be coming out of the pits, and those top 20 places are going to be hotly contested.
And they might only get 1 lap to do it as well, depending on how long the tow is going to take them. They were quite early on in the field when it happened. To see another driver entering the pit lane without the tow, that's going to cost them a little bit of time as well, maybe taking a faster pair, but they probably will get out in front of all the drivers that took the tow, because the tow is going to take them all the way around the circuit before they take them back to the pit lane. And all of these drivers at the front of the field have been gifted really a position in the feature if they can hold on just for 2 more laps as they come towards the end. You can see into towards Canada corner now. You see Bart Horston, he's trying to chase down Collette in 2nd place. Here we can see the Brazilian. He did pretty well last time out on Tuesday night at Silverstone, and he's trying to chase down Azam in 1st position. The Canadian leading this race, pretty much gifted the lead of this race after that 1st lap incident in his Sims esports car, and you can see all the drivers starting to come out after their fast repairs. You can see them all joining out. They're all going to be getting blue flags, of course, so they're not going to be battling for the win, but they're going to have to battle closely together. And we got another car off. That's Victor Martins in 18th position, and he's straight back into the wall, and that is going to be his race over.
Yep, it doesn't look like he's going to make the top 22 as long as enough drivers do exit the pits. I'm still seeing quite a few drivers in the pits who may not get back out onto circuit, so it might still get within the top 22 potentially. This is just the cold tyres, isn't it, right now? You said it right from the start, Dane. These cars do not operate well on cold tyres, and it's just saying this. Even these fantastic drivers, some of the most talented drivers in the world of motorsport, but this is just a completely new challenge with that just lack of confidence going into turn one.
Yeah, definitely a lot of drivers caught out there. It wasn't just involved in the pile-up. There were about 4 or 5 drivers spun off at turn one before any of that happened. So we can look at your race leader now, and Collette's just behind him. There's not too much of a gap. If he makes a mistake, he's definitely going to be right in the back of him, trying to take that lead off of him. He's going to come around the kink towards Canada corner, and he's going to be soon starting the final lap of this heat race. And lots of action on the first lap, but you can see on the track map on the top right, all of the drivers all bunched up in the same kind of area because they all came out of the pit lane at the same time, and they're battling for position. Nicholas Latifi moving up into 15th position. You can see Cameron Das right on the back of him, trying to take that place away from him. This isn't for a position in the feature race, but it is grid position for that race, and I believe it's done by the time that it takes in Heat 1. We can ride on board with Cameron Das with Latifi in front as they come around the final corner up towards the start-finish line, up this very steep hill for the entry of the pit lane. And Cameron Das got that slipstream, like we said earlier on in the broadcast. He's going to pull along towards the inside. They're going to go side by side in towards the braking zone. Is he going to make the move stick, or is Latifi going to be able to hang around the outside? He's not. Latifi drops back into 15th position, and it looks like they've overtaken a driver who's joined the pits. And it's like Onslow Cole, and he's dropping down the order after joining the pit lane. But Cameron Das up into 14th position, gaining 2 places there.
Yeah, and credit to Latifi, didn't fight that one too hard. Doesn't seem to quite have the same pace as Das, who has been very quick. I think got a couple of top 10s already this season. And Latifi, of course, in his first race. Barely any races Latifi has done on iRacing so far. For those who aren't aware, there's a license system on iRacing. Basically, depending on how many races you've done, how safe you are. And Latifi's done so few races. He's pretty much the lowest license he can have. You've got rookies. He's currently D license, which is as low as it gets pretty much. Here is some of the drivers. Those drivers with the D license, barely any experience on iRacing. So it's impressive that they've been able to get into this simulator and straight away be as fast as they are. 11 drivers on the lead lap. It looks like Indy Dante is going to be the last driver perhaps eligible for the feature race later on. Callan Williams might miss out. We'll check on that a little bit later on, but out in the lead, Ramez Azam has been dominant. Well, I say dominant. He's been very kept honest by Charles Collette, who will certainly keep him honest in the feature race. This guy's going to be starting very near the front. There was undoubtedly a massive crash at turn 1, which is the story of this race 1. Out in the lead, Ramez Azam is going to be the first driver to reach the checkered flag. And the Lamborghini ST Middle East driver, the Canadian, crosses the line to win Heat 1 at Road America. Collette and Horston round out the podium. And it's now, I think, time to see who finishes in that 22nd place. Who is going to get within those places? I think it is going to be Dante, it seems, Dane. Unfortunate for Williams, he's 23rd place, but he's just going to miss out on the final.
Yeah, he's about 28 seconds behind Dante, so I don't think he's going to really have an opportunity to pass him. And here you can see Dante passing the start-finish line for the final time in heat race number 1. He's going to take the final feature race position, and everyone behind him is missing out. You can see a lot of them have actually retired from the race. Only Williams is still out there in 23rd position. He's going to take a while to get back, and we won't get the results until then. But soon we'll have heat race number 2. We're going to see the rest of the drivers, and hopefully we won't have that massive turn 1 crash, so we can get some more action during the rest of the 4 laps.
Absolutely. Hopefully, the drivers who would have been able to see what was going on there, they would have been able to see that they're in the same session, so they would have been able to spectate on that. They will learn their lessons. You can only hope, and be a little bit more careful into turn one. But we see this in every series we do on Apex Racing TV, and we do a lot of series throughout the week. Just how many crashes there are around this specific circuit with drivers going off the track, and it just narrows so much. Does that turn one? But just finishing this session at the moment. Very soon we'll have the grid up for race 2 on your screens. But something that we didn't really see a whole lot of that because of the massive crash from that first race day was the slipstream effect. I'm just wondering, if you are the pole sitter on the opening lap, do you want to be the pole sitter, or do you want to be second or third and maybe get that toe down into turn 3?
That's a very good question, actually, and I think I would rather be second or third. But at the same token, if you get a poor start, you're going to be heading very far back down the order as all the other drivers take advantage of the slipstream around you. They're going to be taking, as you can see, the lovely run down towards turn 3, and got the heat results.
Yes. So here are the heat results. Ramez Azam wins out. Then it was Charles Collette, Bart Halston, Matthew Payne, and Enzo Mucci. The rest of the drivers will go through for you now because we are gridding up for race 2 at the moment. And on pole position for this race 2 is going to be Mohamed Ibrahim. Was second place out of the qualifying drivers. Eduardo Barrichello, son of Rubens, of course, lines up alongside him on the front row of the grid. Jack Crawford in third, and Jonathan Hogarth in fourth, Kapastuka in fifth, and Oliver Rowland in sixth, as already we are getting underway. So it's Ibrahim from the pole position. Let's see if second or third was the place to be. Barrichello in second place. Awful start for Jack Crawford. He seems to be caught out by the start as much as we were, because he's down 6 places already into ninth. But do we see the same issues as we did in turn 1? Certainly not as bad as in race 1 so far, as Ibrahim still leading the way. Good start for Dan Wells. I'm seeing up 6 places already for him. But good driving from the front runners, and great launch for Ibrahim there. He seemed to have broke the drafts by the time we got into turn 1.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a couple of people way in the back going off the circuit, and Georgi Dimitrov not having the best of starts. I think he might have even got caught out by the gridding up timer like we did a little bit. And he looks like he started from the pit lane. We can see the battle for the lead now. Drivers going side by side. Ibrahim managing to hold off Barrichello as they came towards turn number 4, which is good for him. But he's going to have to keep that gap up as they come towards the awful left-hander that I really cannot get right, and he hasn't either. Barrichello's going to go around the outside through the carousel. I tried this before, it didn't end well. And I don't think Barrichello is going to get the great line, and it looks like Ibrahim's just managed to get away with that one slightly, but the gap now, just about a tenth of a second separating each of the top 4 drivers.
Oh, he's wide as Ibrahim. Oh, that could have been so much worse. We see a lot of crashes at the kink, and the tyres just not warmed up. He had a compromised line as Barrichello. Can he hold on against Hogarth? Yes, he can. And Stuka, look at Stuka. He was top of the standings, I remember, in practice for round 1. Hasn't quite delivered up to that promise ever since then. But he may well be lining up on the front row of the grid when it comes to the feature race later on, if he can continue this good form. Ibrahim getting held up at the moment in 5th place, or just struggling, if anything, in 5th place at the moment, and yeah, not having it his own way. Ollie Rowland is now on his tail. I think Rowland might well be moving ahead as well. Dante is in 6th place at the apologies, not Dante, Beganovic, I think, is just behind these guys as well. And there's two trains forming now, with Ibrahim losing the pack. The pole sitter having a tough time.
Yeah, the XL of the kink really has compromised him into the second lap. He's got a train of 4 drivers behind. You can see him weaving, trying to break the slipstream, but it's no good. They're all going side by side further back, but you can see now in the lead Eduardo Barrichello, who inherited the lead after the incident. Oh, and is almost touching, and Hogarth managed to get into first position. A fantastic move. We've got people off in the back.
Oh, and it's Ibrahim, the pole sitter. Oh, guys, and they may have just eliminated themselves from the feature race later on. I don't think Ronan's got that front right attached. As we see a replay of what happened, this was over 4th and 5th places. Ibrahim had been overtaken by Roland. Ibrahim's on the outside. Oh dear, he's the car number 7 who's lost it. A lot of netcode as well, it must be added. And once again, the narrowness of this circuit. So the car number 7 was Dino Beganovic. He might receive a penalty for that, depending on how the stewards feel about it. But he was very aggressive, 3 wide in that position. Not great, and unlucky for Ibrahim.
Yeah, definitely tried to push it 3 wide, Beganovic, and he's just got all 4 wheels onto the grass. And that wasn't the best move there, and that's pretty much cost them their position in the feature. You can see them all the way down. Ollie Rowland in 24th position. We can see the battle for the lead here. Eduardo Barrichello in 2nd place after that move from Hogarth. He's going to have all the slipstream in the world, but so is Stuka behind. We're going to have to watch out for him as well. He's getting right up to the back of him and even bump drafting in a Formula 3 car. That's a new one. I've not seen that before. So you can see a driver ahead just coming out of the pit lane in 29th position. But he's not going to make the move, but Stuka is. Stuka in 3rd position has managed to make himself a position into 2nd place. We didn't see him coming at all. I did say look out for him, and then I didn't.
Well, lovely stuff from Kasper Stuka there, and it was very much, well, if you're not going to make an overtake, then I will. I'll go up into 2nd place, thank you very much. And now it's Stuka who's probably in the best position right now. This was how it happened then, so he was a mile off, was the Polish driver. And, well, bump drafting is absolutely massive in karting, probably the biggest we see in all of road racing, and, well, that experience, that racecraft experience really helping out him right there. So he's up into 2nd place. This one's still very hotly contested. Just a little bit of an update further down on the field for a couple of drivers we've seen involved. Well, Sebastian Grier is still doing pretty well at the moment, as you can see. Ibrahim's in 21st place. So he will still make it in, but with a very poor qualifying position. Oh, Brio is all over the place now, and that's a bit of a commentator's curse. As coming down the inside is Horger, on the tail of Tinknell just before, and it is Horger who gets ahead then of Brio with that little mistake.
Yeah, taking advantage of that mistake, and he's going to try and come back. It's Prio as he come towards kind of the corner, but it's also Jack Crawford under pressure from Nilsson. Nilsson looked like he was going to make a move into Canada corner, and he's managed to hold off that one as they come on the fast left corner towards the last corner of the circuit and towards the start-finish line. We've got Kasper Stuka leading the race. What happened to Hogard as he managed to make a place up that we've missed?
Yeah, seemingly maybe down at Canada corner, I guess, but I think we're going to have to stay live to the end of this race because it could easily change between these drivers once again. Barrichello wants to get up into 2nd place. Hogarth, though, wants to keep 2nd place, and if they keep on fighting, then they're going to lose any chance of winning this event. And Barrichello's a little bit deep on the brakes. Now, is he close enough to go for the move into turn 3? Hogarth not going to try to attack into 2. And now actually this is very possible for Barrichello. He's certainly going to be within passing range, as you'll see the acceleration for the Brazilian driver just behind me on the final lap here in heat number 2 of the April Isolation Formula 3 Championship. Barrichello is going to have to go to the outside. Wanting to get involved as well was Hogarth, but nice driving from Stuka. Didn't go mega defensive, but did enough to cover off that inside line. And good news for him, well, good news and bad news, he's got a bit of traffic in front of him. Could hold him up, but at the same time, could be a little bit of respite with the slipstream.
Yeah, definitely. There's not really too many overtaking opportunities left on the circuit. There's only really Canada corner and maybe a drag race to the line, as it looks like there was a big lock-up from Stuka into the left-hander before the carousel. They're going to come through here now and hopefully get a good exit towards the kink where we saw Ibrahim go off earlier on. Very easy to do in these cars, just touch the grass on the inside or even on the exit and it's going to drag you out. Be right on board with Barrichello now. This is the run towards Canada corner, but like I said, he's going to make the move in towards Canada corner, going around the outside. Stuka's going to hang on to the inside. Is he going to make a dive into the inside? Yes, he is. Almost making contact, so close. Barrichello managed just to make the move there, and Stuka's now under threat from Hogarth.
Yeah, so Barrichello's jumped away as well, so that run to the line that you were mentioning doesn't seem like it's going to be possible for Stuka. But a great drive from Barrichello. He didn't lead until right at the end. That's the only lap you need to lead, though. as he approaches the line. A little bit of a jump on the driver ahead will help him out as well, and he crosses the line to win Heat 2 at Road America. What an intense battle between those three. Undoubtedly, we'll see that renewed in just a moment. Or contact between Jones and Prio across the line, with Jones trying to cover off the late attempt from Prio. Wonder if there'll be some words between those drivers later on. They will be starting only 2 places between one another for race 2. Ibrahim, it looks as though he's going to finish in 21st place. Without a rear wing, he won't care though. Well, actually, he has got a new rear wing, so must have gone back to the pits and picked up a fast repair, perhaps. And Greenwood will actually be the last driver on the lead lap, and therefore within the 22 positions. Wells, I think, will miss out, unfortunately. Here is Ibrahim. Well, he's going to be starting in 42nd place, I believe. What a shame for Mohamed Ibrahim. It's been such a terrific day for him. Another race victory, perhaps, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. And here comes Matt Greenwood, then, the VLN Series driver, and using all that experience to navigate his way through a couple of incidents that we had. He will be last place driver for the feature race in just a moment.
It's also worth pointing out that a lot of the drivers, especially the British drivers, are running special NHS liveries. Of course, they got the clap for the NHS on a Thursday at 8 o'clock, which we just passed. Obviously, we weren't able to do that because we are on air, and so all the drivers, they're all driving, but they're running their NHS liveries in support of them nonetheless. So we see the last of our drivers crossing the line. This must be a bit of a tedious task trying to get to the line, even though you know you're out of the race for the feature. It's a bit of a shame for these drivers, but they're being good sports and they're going to cross the line anyway. I think Jens Klingman in the number 9 car, the German IMSA driver, he's going to cross the line, and that will be the end of Heat 2, and we'll be able to get gridded up for the feature race.
Yep. Yeah, really good from the drivers to do that support for the NHS. Remember to wash your hands, stay indoors, all that stuff. Yeah, really good to see that support out there. Eduardo Abagkelly then wins out. Kasper Stuka in second. Jonathan Hogarth third. Then it's Jack Crawford, Alfred Nielsen, Jaden Conwright, Dino Beganovic, Dennis Horgo, Harry Tinknell, and Ed Jones. That's the top 10, and the rest of the judges will go through for you. The top 22 got into the final, and we are getting up for the final. It's pretty fast this format. Ramez Azam is on pole position. Eduardo Bagkeley in second. Next, Chad Collette, Kasper Stuka, and Bart Horston in the top 5. It's a big grid for this one. 44 drivers. Hopefully we don't see the issues that we saw in race 1. As just a few of the other drivers. Watch out for Latifi. He's going to be starting, I believe, about 30th position for this race. So it's going to be mega tricky for him to make his way up. Different format for this one. 8 laps the drivers will complete to see who will take this round of the championship. So Ramez Azam worked out pretty well for him in race 1. Can he back that up in race 2? The 5 lights are on, and we are away for the final. Azam, under pressure straight away from Bagkeley, dips into the drop for a moment, but realises he's got a pretty good run. Oh, there's already come massive tumbles down the start-finish line, involving, I think, pretty much the back half of the order. As round the outside goes Bagkeley, he takes the lead right off the bat. Azam in second place, Colette in third, and we've got more tyres flying about. Oh, and off goes one of the leaders, Colette, I think, was involved in that one. And he made contact with Azam, the pole sitter, and it's the curse of the pole sitter, it seems, from Heat 2 carrying on, and he is out of this race. Absolutely massive. No points for Azam today, it seems. 3 wide for second place with the car number 4 going down the inside. That's more contact as well. Bit of net code once again at that turn 3, and it means that Crawford is up into second place. It's been a magical start for him already. And the race leader pulling away. Oh, Crawford's now dropped there from second position, and no one wants to have that second position, it seems. Colette is back there now. Oh, he's off, and we've got 2 more drivers from second and third who are off the track, and now Djugovic takes second place. Incredible.
What hasn't happened in this first race? We've had spins, we've had crashes all over the place. Azam, very unfortunate for him, dropping down from pole position, obviously, to last place. But on the overlay, you'll see on the left-hand side, we've got a couple of drivers in first and second that really shouldn't be there. They've towed back to the pit lane, and iRacing sticks them in front of our drivers because of where they are in the pit stalls in relative to the start finish line, so they're going to stay up there until our drivers can pass them. We've got some battles going on here though. We've got Verone just in the middle of these two drivers, Nilsson and Behrman, and he's going to be trying to make a move up into 5th position, which will become 3rd position once they cross the line. You can see the drivers up ahead, and thought Drugovic might be heading into the pit lane, but he wasn't. He was just trying to break that draft that is so crucial if you're in front of a pack. Here at Road America, long straight, you can see how far it goes with Barrichello in the distance.
So it seems like we've got, I'm seeing 22 drivers still running. We started off with 44, so pretty much half the drivers out of this race, and even a couple of them, Cola Pinto, I think, having a couple of issues as well. You can see many drivers coming into the pit, such as Horger and Paul, Aaron, Andre. They will be able to get past repairs. It's a long pit lane though around here, so it's going to lose you a lot of time, but a lot of casualties. And this Road America circuit, probably the most troublesome race we've seen so far this season. But the battle's still very strong for 2nd place. Drugovic, former race winner in this championship, holding off Nilsson at the moment. Also seeing Ollie Behrman as well in 5th place. Maybe with a chance of catching up with these guys if they start fighting a bit too much. Lawson, Turney, Donaldson, Klingman and Boltus. Boltus up 22 places, I am seeing. So mega start from him. And look at that, Nicholas Latifi. Recognise him. Unfortunately hasn't made his debut in Formula 1 yet, but very accomplished Formula 2 driver. And he's doing very well right now in the top 10.
Yeah, it's a fantastic race so far for Latifi. He's managed to gain nearly just 20 positions so far with all the carnage that's gone on. He's managed to avoid all of it, and he's now chasing down Yves Baltas, the Formula Renault driver, for 9th position. So we can see Richard Vishaw towing to the pit lane as well, but we still got this battle here. Alfred Nilsson and Drugovic and Verone, with not the top 3 drivers, the 2nd, 3rd and 4th place drivers all having a battle for the podium positions, with Barrichello an absolute mile in front. You can see him just at the top of the screens now going up the hill.
Top 10 drivers get points, by the way, in this series. So well, Latifi's now dropped down to, apologies, Burshaw towing back to the pit, so he will demote soon. So Latifi can't eat in the points. I mean, imagine that. Oh no, Nilsson's off the circuit, and also with him is Drugovic, and these two aren't going to score points either. And a very avoidable contact going down into turn 1. It seemed like one tagged the other, and they both lose out. It promotes Ollie Behrman up into 4th place, into 3rd place, and Verone up into 3rd place.
Yeah, we can see this battle for 4th position, with Liam Lawson just losing out to Turney, who's taking that position ahead of him. And he's got much more straight line speed. You can see with the slipstream how much of an effect it has to come towards turn number 4. And it's unlucky for Lawson. He's lost that position. He's about half a second back now as well. Maybe he's got some damage to that car because he's losing time through all the corners to Turney.
He might have a bit of a curved front wing day. Oh dear, Lawson. Oh, what a shame. He done well to get the majority of this. He's not coming to a complete halt. I thought he was stopping because he had too much damage. He just seems to be slowing down absolutely massively, does Lawson at the moment. Don't think that's to give a place back. I don't think he's due to give back another place, but he's still dropping, maybe with some hardware issues or some issues in the real world. So massive shame for him because he was driving well this lap 5 of this race already. And it's been quite a stormer so far in this final of this round of the April Isolation Formula 3 Championship. And it's still Barrichello leading the way ahead of Verone. Then it's Behrman, Turney, Baltus, Donaldson, Latifi up into 8th, and Crete and Caldwell rounding out your point scores. I wonder if we could go back to Nilsson, because he was involved in that crash for 2nd place a bit earlier on. I wonder if he's got much damage on that car, because he went a long way off the circuit. Because if he's still got a clean car, he's going to be very strong towards the end of this race. He might be able to... He might be able to... Oh dear, Nilsson. No, that's not a fixed car. And he's... well, it's impressive that he's still keeping that one going. That is a completely broken front wing.
It's a very bent front wing, but the rest of his car is looking all right. He's managed to latch himself onto the back of a little bit of a train here. You can see drivers in front, and one of the drivers missing a rear wing actually, and we saw that last time out as well. And it's very difficult for drivers to stay ahead of their drivers. That makes the car very loose with the rear end. And Latifi is getting taken, it looks like, by Donaldson. Donaldson just ahead of him, or maybe, actually no, he's not. He's just taken a position from Donaldson. He's up into 7th position now. Is the Williams F1 driver, as he's going to come towards the carousel in just a moment's time. But Donaldson making himself known, weaving in and out of Latifi's mirrors, and Latifi gets massive oversteer under braking into the entry of that corner, and he's just lost a position to Donaldson. I believe that car in front of him was a lapped one, but that one right behind him, that is Groot in 9th position, just 3/10 back. He's definitely going to be having a look down the main straight, maybe even towards the Canada corner.
Just shows how easy it is to make a mistake. Latifi, oh, we've got a safety car. We have got a safety car right now. Okay, so you can just see Groot staying behind Latifi. Now, not quite sure why this is. Might be to bunch up the field so that we have an exciting final lap or so to this race. However, we're going to be pretty hard pushed for laps remaining in this event. I'm at the moment seeing that we're on lap 5 of 8, but even that, yeah, we are on lap 5 out of 8 at the moment. So not quite sure at the moment who's going to really benefit from this. I know who is going to lose out from this. Eduardo Barrichello, because he had this one absolutely wrapped up, Dane. Not anymore. He's going to be under pressure from Verone when we go back racing.
Just what he didn't want to see. He was doing so well was Eduardo Barrichello, USF 2000 driver. He's pretty good in the real world, isn't he? And he's just seen that pace car come out in front of him, and that is definitely not what he wanted to see. It's just brought his gap down to nothing. And I believe we were already on lap 5 before he crossed the line. So I think there might be a system in iRacing called do not count laps under caution, which means whilst the safety car is out, the lap counter will not tick. And the pace lap is, I believe, going to be about 3 laps here at Road America. But we'll see when they cross the start finish line. You can see all the drivers weaving, trying to keep that temperature in their tyres, trying not to repeat what happened at the start of the race. You can see Ollie Behrman running the NHS livery, as are a lot of other drivers. Ken Donaldson, the MX5 driver, also running a special livery as well. I believe that's a custom livery of his own. We've got drivers blinking just a little bit. We've got Stefan de Groot in 9th position. And Richard Verschoor still saying he's first in this race, but somehow he's out.
Yeah, that's been there. Yeah, that's been there for a little while, but that's just on our system, so that's just a little bit of a glitch, which we're not too familiar with, but just imagine he's not even there. Barrichello is the race leader, undoubtedly. So yeah, so we got this lap, and then I think you're right, we're going to have 3 laps. Let's just hope that the drivers didn't fuel up for 8 laps, because they're going to need about 10 laps of fuel, because they're not going to burn as much fuel in this situation. But you can also see that the way that the drivers are weaving side to side. I don't know if we get maybe some onboards with the drivers as they weave down these straights, just trying to generate as much tyre heat as they possibly can at the moment, so that they've got a lot more grip when we go back to green flag racing. We've seen how many issues we've had at turn 1 already today. And here is Baltus, but at these low speeds, it's almost impossible to get any temperature in the tyres because you're going so slow. So it's all well and good doing this, but it's making very little impact at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And another factor to consider is the brakes temperature, which is modelled in iRacing. And they model quite a lot in this sim, a bit overkill, some might say, but the brake temperature as well. They're going to have to try and get some temperature into their brakes, maybe by dropping back a little bit and then bringing themselves up to speed slightly and hard on the brakes. They're going to need to do that. You can see them weaving so much, almost losing control. But Richard Verschoor definitely out of this race. We've got Eduardo Barrichello leading. And as they cross the line, we'll see if the lap counter does increment.
So of
And
course a fixed setup in this league, so the fuel shouldn't be a problem. So either they're all going to finish or none of them are going to finish. That would be a sight. But hopefully we don't see that. So yeah, will we go on to lap 6? It is lap 6. Alrighty. So and the pace lights are still on. So we will have this lap and then another lap under the pace car, and then we will have a 1-lap shootout to decide who is going to win this race. Oh boy, this is going to be very, very fun. And still weaving side to side. But I mean, if you're Barrichello, this will be absolutely infuriating to him. I don't think he knew that this was going to occur. He was driving so well. I mean, how defensive are you going to be? I guess he will feel like this race victory should be his, so he's going to be really defensive when we go back to green.
it definitely puts him under a really bad position as well. He's going to be leading into turn number 1, might lose out a position there, but down into turn number 4, that's where he's definitely going to be losing positions, because he's going to have no slipstream if he's still leading at that point, and everyone else is going to have slipstreams. We can see a driver dropping back a little bit.
And that's
Not
just a
too
back
sure.
marker.
Yeah, man.
So what is currently going on is that all the drivers who have been lapped and are in amongst all the drivers who are on the lead lap, they're currently just being told to go back to the end of this pace car line, and that will mean that we'll have a straight race. There'll be no interference from traffic. They'll all be right at the back of the order, and instead we'll have the top 22 drivers, I believe, who are on the lead lap, all racing against one another, which is what we want to see. Undoubtedly, I'm seeing 21 drivers, but Billy Fraser currently back in the pits, although he is out of the race. So yeah, I think it's about 20 drivers, in fact, because Richard Vershaw, of course, is back in the pits. Fortunately, he has now dropped down the order, so you can see back up to the top. I'm also wondering, the drivers who have got damage, this is a quite good time to come into the pits, I imagine. The pits, I believe, will be open at the end of this lap. So watch out for the likes of Nielsen in particular, who, of course, was involved in that high-speed crash earlier on in the race. He might nip into the pits just to fix that broken front wing of his, and we'll be able to have a brand new car. Bad news for him, he'll lose about 10 places doing so.
Yeah, it'll be a big risk to take. It'll be similar to Charles Leclerc in Bahrain a couple of years ago in F2 when he pitted for fresh tyres and then managed to overtake the entire field and win the race, which was a very exceptional circumstances. But also going to be interesting to see on this lap, are they going to line up in single file or are they going to line up in double file? And that's going to impact the restart of the race on the final lap as well.
Yes. I'm just wondering if I could try to find that out myself. But I don't believe. So it's always single file when it comes to the road series. We're being told by our trusty broadcaster Alex Simpson. Thanks to him for providing all these fantastic shots. Yeah, so single file for these drivers, but I don't think that's any relief to Barrichello at all. If anything, that's beneficial to Nicholas Verone, because instead of having to draw alongside and use your peripheral vision as though you're an owl, you can actually just line up straight behind and straight away nip into the slipstream and probably not be under as much pressure from P3. So we're going to go for another safety car lap, I believe, because the lights are still on the Porsche safety car. And so they will turn off, hopefully, at the end of, or just as we cross the line. And then we will be able to go proper green flag racing for 1 lap, of course, for lap 8 of this feature race. So we're just about to cross the line and the safety lights will go off. So yep, this will be the in lap, as we see a couple of drivers actually driving past now. So maybe trying to unlap themselves before we go green.
Yeah, so there is a wave around feature in iRacing that allows, I think it's the lucky dog they call it, which allows the first of the lap drivers to go around the lap and rejoin at the end, and that's what the 21st position driver is doing, Colapinto, if I can get his name right, and go towards turn 4. Is he going to make it round in time? They are going very slowly. As you can see, he's built up a pretty big gap, but is he going to be able to get round all the way and complete another lap to catch on to the back of that field before they go green, because if not, that's going to be an issue for him. He's going to be stuck all on his own.
I think he'll make it. I think with the pace that they're going, you can see on the track map, it's quite fun to watch this, to be honest. Let's just have a broadcast of watching the track map, see if he can catch up, because it's quite exciting, actually, to see if he will catch up to the back. I think he will make it, because he is going at least double the speed, probably even triple the speed of the pace car at the moment. So the 43 absolutely racing around. Needs to make sure he doesn't go bin it, of course. That would be very clumsy. Also, he's going to have fresh tyres, or not fresh tyres, but warm tyres, which is going to be quite an advantage when he gets to the back. So certainly watch out for Colapinto starting from 21st place on this restart. Days of Thunder, perhaps reincarnation coming from him. That'd be a spectacular win. By today's standards, that wouldn't even be the most surprising thing we've seen today. Oh, Barrichello! No, Barrichello. He's off. Eduardo Barrichello. Now, can he retake his position? I believe he's spun it by himself. Oh, and there's contact! And Barrichello is going to be out of this race. And it's Schumacher, Coulthard, Spa 98 all over again. And this is what we're talking about, the cold tyres. He's going to barely touch them. In fact, it's actually contact from behind. Now, that nose cone did come off the driver behind. I don't believe that will actually be on his sim, so I believe the now racing Nicholas Baroni will be fine with that. But Barrichello then accelerates and takes his own wheel off, so he's out of the race. No, sorry, apologies. That's just again a little bit of a glitch with the damaged system. So hopefully he will be able to get back to the front, and he has now got to the back of the front. So, I mean, just as I was talking about surprising things, that happens.
Asked a fantastic question by Alex Simpson, who is on the cameras. Did the guy that he took out have any damage as well? He didn't get any damage from it, but did the driver he hit? And I'm not too sure, looking down the rest of the order, if he did. But you can see the number 20 car now has overtaken someone in the pits of Colapinto. He's just coming around the kink now. It looks like he will just about make it in time as he comes towards that corner. But we've also got another car off, the number 19 car.
Hyman is off the track, so he's going to tow back to the pits. But we are in for something here. There's a rivalry between Barrichello and Uroni. They do not like each other after that little incident on the formation lap. Barrichello goes early. Now the pace car is still yet to come into the pits, but now we are going to be back underway. Green flag racing. But Barrichello is a sitting duck. He's got it out. Oh, and a massive wreck. And that was most likely deliberate there from Eduardo, I think. And Baroni is into the wall. And there's a massive impact straight off on the start-finish line. It means that the race lead is going to Ollie Behrman. He takes it from Joe Turney. These two are going to be in for an intense battle. Top three seem to have got through absolutely fine. But Horston was also involved in that. Nielsen and Horger as well, all getting crashed out.
And Nicholas Latifi, our Williams Formula 1 driver, up into 5th position after all of that. I'm not sure if it was intentional or if maybe there was a bit of netcode contact there, as he did drift very sharply, but maybe he just got tagged, not knowing that there was a driver just on his inside. We'll have to get a replay maybe after the race of what happened there. Maybe we can ask him in an interview after the race. But Behrman managing to hold off Turney into turn 4. He's kept the lead. And there isn't really another overtaking opportunity unless it's into Canada Corner, like we saw in heat race number 2 on the final lap. The 2 NHS livery drivers are leading this race, which is fantastic to see. You can see them coming towards the carousel now. Latifi and Donche just a bit further behind. There's a massive battle between loads of cars as they come through the carousel. You can see here Nicholas Latifi. Just behind him is Fenestres. And Donchi dropped down into 12th position. Not sure what happened to him. Maybe there was some contact as they came into that left-hander. There is. You can see on the mini-map. Got the leaders of the race. Ollie Behrman going down towards Canada Corner. Is Turney going to make it a dive into the corner? No, he's not. Oh, and it's a big lock up from Baltas. He's going to go into the gravel. It looks like he's going to keep 3rd position though. But it's just these two drivers now. The two drivers with the NHS livery. Behrman and Turney. Turney right on the back of Behrman. He's going to try and get a good exit and maybe take a drag race to the line, but he's not going to. He's going to get all up onto the grass. It's going to compromise him a little bit. It's going to be a drag race to the line. And who's going to take it? I think it's going to be Behrman.
It's going to be Behrman then to win at Road America in the April Isolation Formula 3 Championship. Oh, what a race that was. Turney finishing in second place. Baltus in third. Groot comes home in fourth. And Finesse did get Latifi. But it's still a fantastic debut for Nicholas Latifi, the Williams F1 driver, to finish in sixth place. Das, Aaron, Horston, and Stuka. He got spun round, I believe, by Barrichello on the final lap under the pace car. He finishes in 10th place and scores 1 point. Colapinto. We were talking about Colapinto, weren't we? He was starting in 21st. He gained 9 places on the last lap. It wasn't enough though. And it's Ollie Behrman. He takes the spoils. An absolutely remarkable race. Kept us guessing all the way through as the top 3 drivers who will undoubtedly be the happiest 3 drivers. I think there'll be a few more than 3 unhappy drivers from that one. Barrichello with that last lap incident. He finishes down in 16th place in the end. And absolutely stunning scenes at Road America. And, well, fortunately, we've still got a couple more rounds of this to go, but that was one of the most spectacular races I've ever seen, Dave.
Yeah, definitely right from the start of the event at Heat 1, and it was just that massive pileup, but the feature race was fantastic. We saw lots of good racing throughout the 8 laps. Unfortunately, 3 of those were behind the pace car. I'm not too sure what happened, if there was some sort of big incident that we missed, maybe brought it out, or maybe it was brought out by the race organizers to try and promote some good racing on the final lap. But we definitely got that with Behrman taking the spoils. The young Carter in 87, the number 87 car. And he's just a 10th ahead of Joe Turney, as we can see the results on the screen now.
Yeah, so it is Behrman who wins that ahead of Turney. Maybe if Turney hadn't have got such a poor exit from the last corner, maybe he would have got him. Ran wide, looked like it was all over, but just didn't quite nail it when he needed to. Still a great result for him. Ves Valdas finishes in third place. Great result for the American. Then Stefan de Groot. Sacha Finestras, who he saw barely any of for the entire day. He qualified down like 40th place time. Don't think he even set a qualifying time. Showing his pace though to perform very well in the end in 5th place. Then it was Nicholas Latifi in 6th, Cameron Das in 7th. Then it was Paul Aaron, Bart Horston, and Kasper Stuka rounding out the top 10. Although it could have been a lot more for Stuka. Had a great heat 2, I believe. Then it's Dennis Horger, Alfred Nielsen, Franco Colapinto. Great finish for him. Eduardo Barrichello didn't finish. The race leader for 90% of the race, but not at the end. Finishes in 14th place. Then it's Nicholas Verone, Kieran Donaldson, Indy Dante. Daniel Morad was in 18th place. Quite a few of those drivers 1 lap down. And then behind that was Denner and Hay Tinknell finishing in 21st. Ricardo Andrade, Matt Greenwood as well. Then there's Ollie Caldwell, Georgie Dimitrov, Christian Mansell, Billy Fraser in 28th place, Enzo Mucci, Matthew Payne, Filip Drugovic. Massive shame for Drugovic. I mean, he's been one of the fast drivers in this series, but not today, getting involved in a couple of incidents. Liam Lawson, Julian Conrad, Dino Beganovic, Charles Collette, Ramez Azam. Look at those drivers who all finished way down. Richard Verschaw, Gabriel Bortoletto in 38th, the Italian F4 driver. And then I think to round out the field, Ed Jones, Mohamed Ibrahim, Jack Crawford, Ido Cohen, Seb Prio, and James Paul in 44th place. A few drivers, of course, didn't get to the finale. But yeah, absolutely spectacular event. Gemma, that was quite remarkable. I mean, what were your thoughts on that? That was absolute carnage up there.
Do you know what? That was remarkable to watch that restart under the safety car as well. You know, a long time for the safety car, a long time for the drivers to stay focused, for them to keep the car as they need to keep it with tyres warmed, etc. as well. But a real shame for Eduardo Barrichello there, you know, under that restart. I don't think he's a particularly happy bunny at the moment. I think we can have a bit of a chat with him if he is available. But it certainly isn't an easy moment for any of the drivers, is it?
Absolutely not. So in fact, shall we talk with Ollie as we've got him in the commentary booth?
Ollie, thank you for joining us. Nice to have you with us as well. You know, a fantastic race for you there. One of our younger drivers out on the in the lineup that we've got in the championship, and certainly showing these boys how it's done. Oh, are you there, Ollie?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
I was just saying, you're one of the younger drivers that we've got out in the championship at the moment, and showing these boys how it's done. A fantastic result for you.
Yeah, well, it was a bit of a hectic race. Started 17th. Just avoided the incidents really. I knew from the start it was going to be a bit of a crash fest, so just stayed out the way and eventually got near the front.
What did you make of that safety car?
I don't know. I think it was a bit controversial between the front runners because it bunched the pack up, and I think it caused quite a few incidents at the end. But it worked in my favour in the end, so I'll take it.
You'll take that one.
Yeah.
Well done to you. Fantastic result. And as I
Thanks.
said, looking forward to the next race that we've got with you as well. Are we able to speak to Eduardo, do you know, guys?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Eduardo. I mean, for you, that must have been incredibly frustrating because from starting second on the grid, you drove an incredible race and the safety car kind of threw it away for you.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't understand the point of safety car. I don't know if they were joking or something, but that was very. I mean, it felt very unfair. You're winning the race by almost 4 seconds, and then suddenly they just dropped safety car. There was no accidents or something like that, and then I was just like getting my tires heat up, and I got hit on the safety car. And then after it started, my car wouldn't go. And when I saw he was going on the right, I tried like defending it, but I guess it was too sharp with the car I had. So it was too much. I apologize for that crash. Yeah, I didn't understand why they put safety car. That was very, very frustrating.
And after a little bit of an interruption, Gemma, are you back with us?
I am back with you. Thank you, guys. Bit of a nightmare with the connection there, but certainly, you know, a disappointing and frustrating race for everybody, I believe. But, you know, isn't it great that in these times that are difficult, we're seeing the NHS liveried cars, we're seeing everybody pulling together as the motorsport family do in every single time of sadness or of crisis or of excitement. We see that team pull together as a family, and that's what motorsport do, and that's what we're bringing now. Amusement for the fans, a bit of fun, a bit of racing, and seeing drivers from all walks of our motorsport life coming together. It really is a fantastic time for us to see everybody out on screen, and midweek racing as well. It doesn't get better than that, does it? Not at all. Well, that's it for round 4. A great result there for Ollie Behrman. Maybe perhaps not the win he was hoping to take, but certainly one that he would take. Guys, that's it from us today from here at Road America. The next race takes us to Road Atlanta on Tuesday, the 28th of April. In the meantime, stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, and we'll see you next time. Take care, and thank you very much.